Okay, this is the graphing portion of review worksheet for Chapter 13, Lesson 1 through 4. And I'm going to go through each of the functions here. I've identified in number 1, A is 2, B is, this can be separated out to be 1/3 of theta, so B is a third. This does not have a phase shift. There's no modification to C here inside the parentheses, so C is 0, but I do have a vertical shift downward of 2. So the amplitude of this function is the absolute value of A, which is 2. The period of the function is 2 pi over B, or 2 pi over 1/3, which is 6 pi. My baseline, because this is shifted up by 2 units, is going to be 2. So my maximum value will be where I start at 2 plus 2 up, or, oh, I'm sorry, it's at -2 here. This is down 2. So I'm starting at -2 and adding 2, so it'll be 0, and my minimum value will be at -2, shifting down 2 at -4. So, and this is a cosine function, so I have to know what cosine looks like. So, again, there's no phase shift left or right. I'm just going down. So my baseline is going to be like down here at -2. So that'll be like my center line. And then my maximum value will be up at 0 up here, and my minimum value will be down here at -4. So I can see that my amplitude of 2 is in here. So my minimum will be here. And my period is 6 pi, so this is a really slow function. It takes 6 pi to roll the whole thing out. So I'm just going to scale the x-axis, which is up here. This is 6 pi. Here's my 0. So half, I'm going to divide it into 4 even parts. So half of 6 pi is 3 pi, and half of that is 3 pi over 2, 1.5 pi. And halfway between 3 pi and 6 pi, that would be 4.5 pi, or 9/2 pi. So anyway, if this is my middle line here, and a cosine is going to start at the maximum value at the top of the function, it's going to start up here, and then go to the middle, and then the bottom, and then here, and then back up to the top. And a cosine is going to have this cup, looks like so, in this interval, and so on. And then it should continue out both directions in that pattern. There's the end of the one period right there. So on the graph that we see, it's all below the x-axis, or the theta axis. So it looks like this one in your key. Okay, and number 2, I've identified that this can be switched around to be 4 times the sine of 4 theta plus 1. We're used to seeing d over there. It doesn't matter if I add it in front or behind. So d is 1, so this whole thing's going to be shifted up. Its baseline is going to be up here at +1. So that'll be the midline for the whole thing. And then the amplitude of this function is the absolute value of A, which is 4. And so the baseline, or the midline, is going to be at -1, or I'm sorry, at +1, where D is. So my maximum value is going to be at 1 plus 4, or 5. So that's going to be, take this up, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. And my minimum value will be at 1 minus 4, or at -3. So -1, -2, -3 will be down here. Okay, now this function has a period of 2 pi over b, and b is 4, so 2 pi over 4, or pi over 2. So this is a fast function. It does a whole cycle in just pi over 2. So on a real scale, pi over 2 would be over, closer, but if I just spread it out here, if pi over 2 is here, and there is no horizontal shift with this, so I'm still starting over here at the y-axis. If pi over 2 is here and this is 0, then halfway across will be 1/4 of pi, and the halfway across here would be 1/8 of pi, and halfway between 1/4 and 1/2 is, so this would be 2/8 and 4/8, so this would be 3/8 of pi. So let's see, this is the sine function, and sine function is going to start in the middle of the function right here on the left edge. So it's going to go start at -1 and go up and go to the middle again and go down and then end again at the middle. So it's going to look like this in this little interval to pi over 2, and then that's going to repeat. And sine being an odd function, it's going to come down like so. So when we match it to the graph, because this should be really condensed between 0 and pi over 2, we see that that's the portion of the graph from here to here. We can see that we've got that. I've just spread it out a little bit more than we see here. Okay, number 3. This one we're going to have a phase shift. This is theta minus -pi over 4. So our phase shift is left, right, to -pi over 4. So if I make this -pi over 4, then let's see, what are we dealing with here? So this function goes, d is 2, so we've got a vertical shift where the midline of the function is going to be up here at 2, and the amplitude is 3, so 3, 4, 5, so 3 above that. So let's see, the maximum value is going to be at 2 plus 3, or 5. The minimum value will be at 2 minus 3, or -1. So that's going to be down here, -1, and the maximum up here at +5. And then we've got a phase shift here we're moving to the left by pi over 4. So the left edge of this particular period is going to be right here. And so if my left edge is at -pi over 4, then if I move by 2 pi to the right of that, my right edge of this period will be -pi over 4 plus 2 pi, which is -1/4 plus 2 is going to be 1 3/4 pi, which is, let's see, 7/4 pi. So put 7 pi over 4. So if we make that the right edge of the function out here at 7 pi over 4, halfway between -1 pi and +7 pi, and these are going to both be over 4, would be 3. So that would be 3 pi over 4. So there's 3 pi over 4. And then halfway between -1 and +3 would be 1 pi over 4. So that's right in here. And then halfway between 3 pi over 4 and 7 pi over 4 would be 5 pi over 4. And so my right edge of my function of that first period will be right there. So now, being that this is cosine, I'm going to start up here at the maximum value, and then I'm going to go to the middle, and then down right to here, and then up to the middle, and then back up to the top. So it's going to take this shape, and then it's going to change and look at it concave up, and then it's going to change like so again. And this will continue infinitely to the left and right. And if we look at a piece, we can see that this is dipping below the x-axis at 3 pi over 4, which would be 3/4 pi, which would be right in here, you can see on your key. So for number 3, this part right here is this part of the function that dips below, and at 7, well, a little before 2 pi, it's up, it peaks, which is going to be right in here. So you're just looking kind of at that part of the function. Okay, then the last one, number 4. Again, this involves a phase shift of -pi over 2. This is also going to go left. My axis line, my midline or baseline, as we've been calling it sometimes, is going to be up at +1. So if that's 1. Let's see, where's my last page here? Oh, okay, so my amplitude, no, I forgot to do on number 3, amplitude. Amplitude on this is the absolute value of 3, which is 3. Sorry. So my amplitude on this is 2, and my baseline or midline is at positive 1. So my max is at 1 plus 2, or positive 3. So I go up here by 2 to 3. That will be my max value. And my minimum value will be at 1 minus 2, or negative 1. So that's going to be down here. And again, this one is shifted to the left by pi over 2. So if I just make this negative pi over 2, my left edge of my function, if it starts at negative pi over 2 and goes 1 period, let's see what the period is. Well, b is still 1, so the period is 2 pi, and that's also something I forgot to write in on number 3. The period is just 2 pi, and same with this one. Period is 2 pi over b, 2 pi over 1. So I'm going to go from negative pi over 2, so left edge at negative pi over 2, right edge at negative pi over 2 plus 2 pi. So that's going to be at 1 1/2 pi, or 3/2 pi. So 3 pi over 2. So halfway between negative 1 and positive 3 is going to be pi. And then halfway between negative, was that right? Over 2, oh sorry, that's pi over 2. And then halfway between negative pi over 2 and positive pi over 2 is 0. And halfway between pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2, so this is 1 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, would be 2 pi over 2, which is just pi. So anyway, the left edge is here. Sorry for the messiness. The right edge is here. And then this is cosine again, so at cosine we're going to start at the top, at the max, and then we'll go to the middle, and the bottom, and the middle, and the top. So this cosine function will go like so, and like this. And that is at 1 1/2 pi, it hits its peak, and we can compare that to your answer key, which, oh, right here, and we can see at 1 1/2 pi, which would be like right in here, it hits its peak. So what we're seeing right here is that one period, part of the period, it starts over here, right there. And of course we would continue this infinitely left and right. So that's kind of a little bit messy, but you get all of the dirty work there, and that's it.